While our army continues to fight with all the gallantry of our great tradition, let us not forget the citizens who come home after a hard day's work and then go on parade as local defense volunteers. Here they're preparing a few surprises for any unwelcome enemy visitors. Shortage of weapons is no handicap. Everything that can be used to harass the enemy is pressed into service. They have an unbreakable will and an iron resolve. And if Adolf ever tries to set foot on this green and pleasant land, he'll be chased right back into the sea.
All right, at ease, everybody. Squad. Squad, shut. Stand at ease. Squad, shut. Stand at ease. Squad, shut. I think it would save time, sir, if we were just to settle for that.
Yes, we're going to the next bit.
All right, to the next bit. All right. Squad present, correct, sir.
Dismount, Corporal. Shut! It's a very smart hat. Where'd you get it?
Fell off the back of a lorry, sir.
Really? Stood up to it remarkably well. That needs sharpening.
Well, it's all right when I carved a joint on Sunday.
How did you get a joint on Sunday only serve you with a pork chop?
Mind your own business. I don't have to tell you everything.
All right, that'll do, that'll do.
Well, he's registered with me, sir.
Must look after our arms.
Rather look after a rifle.
They'll be coming along shortly, you can count on that. Pike, I told you yesterday, no mufflers on parade. Don't see the Grenadier Guards wearing mufflers, do you, Sergeant?
But I never really thought to look, sir.
Well, of course you don't.
Well, I've got a note from your mum, sir.
Note? I'm not interested in notes. You're in the army now, Pike.
Sir, I think perhaps you ought to read it.
Oh, very well. Frank is starting with his chest again. He ought to be in bed. If he can't wear his muffler, he's to come home or he will catch his death. I can't have him wearing that thing on parade. Makes the whole platoon look ludicrous.
Well, perhaps he could wear it on patrol, sir. What time do you go on?
10 till 12.
It'll be dark by then, sir, anyway.
Oh, very well. Take it off now and wear it on patrol.
Thank you.
What's this?
Stones, sir, from a catapult.
This is war, Fraser. I really do think we should draw the line at juvenile toys.
Yes, sir.
In future, ask the sergeant's permission before you bring any unauthorized weapons on parade.
I did, sir.
Did you?
I thought in view of the absence of rifles, sir, it might be useful as a sort of a medium-range weapon.
I used to be a dab hand at yourself when I was a boy.
Yes, that's rather a long time ago, Fraser.
But, sir, I just hit my target just now at 100 yards. Felicia Beacon. Smashed to smithereens.
Great Scott. Well, keep the thing out of sight. They'll be using conkers next.
Did I hear you say, sir? We'll be getting our weapons soon.
I hope so, Fraser. I hope so.
Oh, thank God for that.
Look to your front, Godfrey. Take that smile off your face. This is a military inspection, not an advertisement for Odol. Well, steady at ease. Now, I'll just read the notices, and then we'll carry on with our unarmed combat.
Unarmed combat, just about our mark, isn't it?
Now, pay attention. Now, Mrs. Samways, the guide mistress, has requested that when we're doing arms drill in the guide hut, the order slope arms will not be given. It appears that the points of your halberds went straight through the felt roof, and now when it rains, she has to send half her troop home. Now, we must be very careful when we're dealing with other organizations, or indeed with the general public, for that matter, that we don't get ourselves a bad name. An example of what I mean is this. Mrs. Samways has also complained that last night her assistant, Miss Beckwith, was followed home by one of our men, who, she alleges, shone an unobscured torch on her legs and was heard to mutter, "Caw, what a pair of gamaroos." Now, that's not the sort of thing I want to hear about my unit. Pike, Walker, Jones, you were all on patrol. I'm not going to ask who did it, but don't let it happen again.
Permission to speak, sir.
Yes, Gordon.
I'd like to confess it was me.
I'm surprised at you, Jones.
I know, Sergeant. I don't know what come over me.
Well, don't let it come over you again. It's embarrassing for a young girl.
Yes,
Supposing it had been Mrs. Samways herself.
that would have been all right, sir.
How do you mean?
I wouldn't have bothered.
All right, silence. Silence in the ranks.
Now, there's one more thing. You'll be very pleased to hear that the Spitfire Fund now stands at £3 9 4.
Oh, that's very good, sir, very good.
Now, on the word move, we'll gather round for a further lecture on unarmed combat.
All right. Off you go. Go round the circle along. Pay attention, everybody.
Now, are you volunteering to be a attacker again, Jones?
Well, we've got to do something, haven't we, sir? I mean, we haven't got any rifles yet, have we, sir?
Yes, Jones. Yes. Well, now, last night, we dealt with the countermeasures to be taken against an assailant with a dagger. And just a moment. Now, in view of last night's incident, I think we'd better dispense with this.
Yes, sir. I think that's probably very wise, sir.
Yes.
Use that one.
Maybe.
That's up.
Now, having taken the blow under the knife on the left forearm, you recall the next move is to twist the hand and grasp the assailant by the wrist. So, that's right, isn't it, Sergeant?
Yes, that's right, sir. That's as far as we got before the doctor arrived.
Right. Now, the next thing is to knock out our opponent. Now, this can either be done with the edge of the hand against the throat, the knee in the groin, or jab 2 fingers in his eyes. Stand behind him, Wilson, in case he falls backwards.
All right, Jones, all right.
It's all right, Sergeant. I shan't fall over. I won yesterday, didn't I?
This jumping in the eyes business. What happens if he's wearing specs like him?
That's a good question. But the chaps in Whitehall who wrote this manual had fortunately thought of that. And they've come up with a very smart alternative. They recommend that you shove the index and second fingers up the assailant's nostril. Now, it's not a pleasant business, but this is war.
And what do you do if he's wearing a gas mask?
Ah. Now, that's a good question. Isn't it, Sergeant?
Yes, indeed it is, sir. It's a very good question.
Yeah. What do we do if he's wearing a service respirator? Must get used to calling these things by the proper name, Fraser. Service respirator. Anything in the manual?
No, nothing in here at all, sir. Nothing.
Ah, well, there you are, you see. Fraser has come up with a question which even the Whitehall Johnnies had not considered. But, of course, they're not front-line fighting troops like we are. So what do we do? I'll tell you what we do. We improvise. Put on your gas mask, Corporal.
Service respirator, sir.
Quite right, Sergeant. I'm subject to human frailties and weaknesses, just like any of us.
Do you mind holding that, please?
Yes, of course.
Corporal, this is supposed to be in a state of instant readiness.
Yeah, well, they're cat pieces for Mrs. Forster's cat, you see. She helps me count the coupons in the evening, so I see her cat right.
Now, we can't put our fingers in his eyes or up his nostril. Which is presumably why you asked the question, Fred. So what are we to do? Any suggestions?
Breathe on his window.
That doesn't seem to work.
Ah, well, you blew. You should have heard.
I see. Would you care to have a go, Sergeant?
Well, I think it's the celluloid material, sir. You see, it doesn't steam up.
It's getting steamed up in here, all right.
That's the answer, sir. You just hold him until he gets steamed up.
Possibly. Ah, I have it. We cut off the air supply. Place the palm of the hand against the air intake. Or, in the case of the service respirator, of course, grasp the tube and squeeze it. Now, you know as well as I do that however tough and big a fighter is, be he Nazi stormtrooper, SS, or just plain Fritz, he cannot survive long without an air supply. This brings... Get it off!
Service respirator, sir.
Get it off!
Well, get it off.
Are you feeling better now, Jones?
Oh, sorry, sir. I was overcome, sir.
It's all right, Jones. All right. Wasn't your fault.
No, sir, well, I wouldn't normally snuff out like that, sir, but my morale's all shattered, sir. I tried to keep it from the men, but what can you do with a shattered morale, sir?
Yes, I know. I'm terribly sorry. I feel entirely responsible.
No, sir, it's not you, sir. It's all the women. They come in the shop trying to get a bit on the side, sir. I'd like to oblige them, but I can't, sir. What can I say to them? I'm used to joints, Mr. Manring. Sirloins, top sides, spare ribs, wing ribs, legs of lamb, legs of pork, in all sizes and description. You mention it, I've sliced it, sir. And now all I can give them is a measly 1 and 10 pence, sir. And you don't realise the precision involved. You see, you're slicing it and you've got a bit of a shaky hand. You put it on the scales, fourpence light, there's all hell let loose.
Oh, well, there it is, Joe. You see, it happens to all of us.
Yes, must remember there's a war on.
Yes, but not only that, I'm sitting in the shop there with just a couple of rabbits hanging up and a tin of corned beef in the window, and if that ain't bad enough, after I've finished work and having me cup of tea, I take my assegai out and sharpen it up a bit, and then I'm coming on down to parade, and I think they're going to give me a rifle tonight, but it never is. There never is. No.
Our first casualty, Wilson. I didn't think Jones would go like that.
You know, I had my doubts about him right from the start, sir.
Oh, no nonsense. He's only dying to have a crack at Jerry, just like the rest of us.
Unless we get them their rifles very soon, sir, I think their morale is going to drop to rock bottom.
Right. I'll soon put a stop to this. Get the men on parade. Tell them that I personally will see that they get rifles before the week is out.
All right, sir. Have you any idea?
Don't argue with them. Just go and do it.
All right.
I don't know what we'd do without you, Mr. Mannering. You're our inspiration.
The hour and the man.
If ever a heart was in the right place, it's yours.
Anything else?
Well, only this, sir. Mr. Adams from the music shop. He's issued that check and there's nothing to meet it.
He's not doing very well, is he?
Well, see, he does over-order so terribly, sir. He's got 400 records of We'll Hang Out the Washing on the Siegfried Line on his shelves.
He's not going to get rid of those now, is he?
No.
Can he heat them up and turn them into nut bowls?
Not any nuts about, sir.
Poor fellow. But he's got the right spirit, you know.
Oh, yes, indeed, yes.
We're very slow to rouse in this country. We don't like wars and bloodshed. But once we knuckle down to it, we fight better than anybody else in the world. I think he should hang on to his records. We will hang out our washing on the Siegfried Line, you know. Cash his check.
All right, sir.
Any news from headquarters?
No, not a thing. I think you were a little bit hasty last night, you know, sir, when you promised the men that they'd get their rifles before the end of the week.
Well, I had to tell them something. Got to boost their morale somehow.
Yeah.
You're both busy. I thought you might like your tea in here, sir.
Oh, thank you, Miss King. Very kind of you. Just put it down there, will you? Very thoughtful thing to do. What a nice girl she is.
Charming. Just look at that, Wilson.
What's that, sir?
Not a single currant in it. Remember those lovely buns we used to have before the war, full of rich, juicy fruit?
Yes, they were marvellous, weren't they? Yeah. Oh, look, I'm the lucky one. Look at that.
You're the wrong one.
That's the one you left behind, sir.
Well, might at least give me one of your currants.
Well, of course I will. There you are, sir.
Oh, you've dropped it.
Sir, you are a
clumsy fellow.
Don't panic, sir. Please don't panic. I wouldn't have had that happen for the world. Must be under the paper somewhere.
Oh, well, I just have to do without
I'm so sorry.
Colonel Square to see you, sir.
Colonel Square? I don't know Colonel Square. Do you know?
No, I never heard of him, sir, no.
Marshall Hall. I wonder what he wants. You better show him in, Miss King.
Yes, sir.
Mainwaring!
Ah, do sit down, Colonel.
Thank you.
Actually, it's pronounced Mannering.
Well, why the devil don't you spell it, Mannering? You the LDV fella?
Yes.
Yes, I might as well come straight to the point. And so far, the War House haven't found me a job. Heaven knows it should be easy enough for the man of my experience. Served 4 years in the desert, you know, 1915 to 19. You heard of Elorance?
I beg your pardon?